The following is rated not safe for work. It contains strong language, adult situations, and lots of spoilers. Discretion is advised.
In the criminal justice system, cinematic-based offenses are considered especially heinous. The dedicated attorneys who investigate these villainous films are members of an elite squad known as the Reels of Justice. These are their stories.
Order, please, order. The Reels of Justice is now in session. Judge, why are you dressed up like Batman, Ryan Luis Rodriguez? Presiding. We all rise for the Honorable Judge Rodriguez.
Be seated. Welcome to the Reels of Justice. Today we are hearing the case of Spider-Man 2 vs. Batman Returns. Spider-Man 2 from 2004 features the titular web-slinger as he battles the evil Dr. Octopus while struggling with the tension between his superhero and personal lives. Batman Returns from 1992 has the Dark Knight facing off against the Penguin and an evil businessman, kind of unfair there, with the help of a new ally, Catwoman. For those of you unfamiliar with our court proceedings, in civil cases like this, the counsel appointed to represent each film will present their case for why their client is superior, and ultimately the jury will render its verdict. This decision will hereby stand in all rankings and listicles from now on until the end of time, ad infinitum. Mr. Big Ben Hassler, you are representing Spider-Man 2. You may begin your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor, and welcome back to the court, Joey Ponce. Batman Returns and Spider-Man 2, I think, are two great examples of sequels done right. Both are films I've recommended, so either way, I win. And I do think there is a lot of interesting similarities in how they execute themselves. Both films based on graphic novels, both with the same directors continuing on and the opportunity to dive deeper into the worlds that they've created, not having to set anything up anymore because that job is done. Both scored by Danny Elfman, and both opening with the same iconic themes from their predecessors, giving us that familiarity of what we know, but with new imagery priming us for what's to come. I honestly love both of these films. They both get the heart on Letterboxd, and as such, while I might nitpick at Batman Returns here and there, I'm not going to rag on it too much, as both films are very worth everyone's time. That said, Spider-Man 2 is absolutely my favorite. I go between Spider-Man 2 and The Dark Knight as to which film is the better comic book film of all time, but no doubt it's one of those two. Batman Returns is probably in the top 10, but a little lower in the ranks. Spider-Man 2 is a true sequel in every sense. It's not another episodic adventure like Batman Returns is. It's very much a continuation of Peter's journey, as well as the characters around him. There's just a new character in the mix, Doc Ock. And it asks the right questions. While the first film is busy getting Peter into the suit, this examines the real cost of what he does, and this can only be done by getting him out of it. And in the process, it makes much stronger statements about true heroism. It's the best Spider-Man movie ever made, which I don't think the same can be said of the Batman Returns and that character. And I look forward to hashing it out, just why I adore it so much today.
Thank you, Mr. Hassler. Appearing on behalf of Batman Returns is Mr. Joe Pontillo. Please present your opening statement.
Well, first of all, I think this entire case should be thrown out because Batman Returns is the only comic book movie that features Christopher Walken. And that alone...
Ever? Is that true?
Let's just end it right there. But here's I come at this from a side of not only being a movie fan, but also being a huge comic book fan. And Batman and Spider-Man are my two favorite characters. And even though, yes, we can argue that Tim Burton's Bruce Wayne / Batman is more like, hey, what if Batman was kind of a serial killer? But it was the 90s, and that's just what cinema called for. And that's what comic books called for. And it's the most Tim Burton-y movie you could possibly imagine. It's the most like gritty, dark 90s or late 80s, early 90s Batman movie you could imagine. It's a perfect follow-up to the first Batman movie. In fact, it's far superior to the first Batman movie. Doesn't compare to the Christopher Nolan movies, but in terms of those original movies, this is the best one. It's also the one that's held up the best, that has, I feel like, almost gotten better with time, if that's possible. We could also say that it helped launch the Batman the Animated Series, which is, of course, one of the greatest animated series of all time. And Spider-Man 2, to me, at the time was fine, but looking back on it, it's a horrible portrayal of Peter Parker. I find him to be Peter Parker. To me, Spider-Man is supposed to be this like wisecracking, cool character who, yeah, goes through some serious stuff and some pain, and Aunt May's perpetually 115 years old and on the brink of dying. But this focuses more on him just kind of being a whiny baby nonstop. And he does this through all three movies, but it's particularly bad in this movie, to the point where I find myself kind of rooting against Spider-Man in this movie and being like, you know what, maybe Doc Ock should just blow up the city. Or, let Harry Osborn is great in this movie. Maybe he should have been the hero. So there we go.
Well, I was
Okay.
going to take the high road, but maybe not anymore.
Thank you both. Mr. Hassler, you may proceed with your first exhibit.
Yeah, let's talk about how these films work as sequels to their counterparts. Neither feels like a whole different world. Bruce is still Bruce, Peter is still Peter, Gotham is still Gotham, New York is still New York. But why I think Spider-Man edges out Batman here is the issues Peter and his friends are dealing with are a true continuation of what they were dealing with in that first film from all that fallout. I think this is evidenced by the opening credits with these panels kind of retelling the events of the first, signaling to you that this was all important and there's more to follow. Harry Osborn is now singularly obsessed with how Spider-Man killed his father. Ben's death weighs not just on Peter, but on May as well, and of course it would. And then there's MJ's confusion over Peter rejecting her at the end of the last film, but clearly still obsessed with her. All of this is logically what would happen next. With Aunt May in this confession scene, there's a strong continuation in that the things that happened still haunt Peter and still haunt May. You can tell how much Raimi and his team love that first movie that they made, getting every little detail right. Details you wouldn't think they necessarily would even have to. Like scenes where Peter's talking to his Uncle Ben in a dream in the car. He's wearing the exact same clothes he wore in that scene in the first movie with the spray painted like little costume underneath his hoodie. So many people wouldn't even notice that. Most people wouldn't even say it's like even worth your time because, well, it's a dream. He could just be wearing anything of today, right? But it wouldn't necessarily be wrong in that assessment. But the fact that they really zero in on those details, not just that, but all of them, like the locations, really says something. It's a true part two. It's a true representation of the comics. If you know Spider-Man, there's more than just Doc Ock here. There's Dr. Connors, Betty Brant, Robbie Robinson, and of course I'd be remiss if I didn't mention J.K. Simmons is just the embodiment of J. Jonah Jameson, and he continues to be incredible in this role. Possibly the best performance in either movie. I'd put him against Chris Walken's millionaire there for sure. They could have easily gone the episodic route and ditched Harry, JJ, or whoever else and been fine, kind of like Batman does. But they went the full continuation route, and it adds depth. In contrast, Vicky Vale is nowhere to be seen in Batman Returns. They do make brief references to why it didn't work out, which certainly helps Batman here, but there's nowhere near the depth of impact of anything that happened in that first film as there is with Spider-Man. It chooses to take an episodic approach, which is fine, but if you can connect the dots, it's a much better product, a more lived-in world. If it weren't for the Vicky references, honestly, you could watch the Batman films in either order, and you wouldn't know. Now, it does look and feel like the same Gotham. I will give you that. But it doesn't feel like the same continuation. I might also add Spider-Man feels like it has the same tones. And Batman Returns is certainly a more sexual film, a little bit more gruesome. So that's a little fun surprise for parents. You know, a lot of innuendos and breast touching and penis touching and void filling, etc. That if they thought the first film was fine for their kids, they're in for a nice little treat there.
The void. How did you miss that line?
Objection. It's a good stylistic follow-up to the first movie. And yes, you could say like, oh, Gotham looks completely different from the first movie to the second movie. And that's totally fair. And you do feel very much like, oh, we're just on a big giant stage or sound stage or something. Whatever. That's not the point. The point is you jump forward into this crazy Batman story. Yes, it's kind of standalone. You mentioned the Vicky Vale thing. And unless I'm mistaken, I don't think there's any references to the Joker, like whatsoever.
No, Vicky Vale's the only reference I can think of. That and Batman
Hey,
and
remember the
Alfred.
guy who killed your parents? Don't even think about him anymore.
Yeah.
As I'm now crapping on my own movie here. But my issue with Spider-Man 2 and why I think at the time good, but doesn't hold up, and that's really my main argument here. And you kind of say it yourself. All the side characters in Spider-Man 2 are kind of amazing, way more amazing and more interesting than Spider-Man himself. And I think that when you have a superhero movie where the main character is kind of the most annoying character in the movie, it kind of deflates any talk of it being so superior to anything else. Like, Batman Returns, Spider-Man 2 should have been called Spider-Man Go Away, because he's the last character I want to see in this movie. I could have
He
watched
does
the
go
whole
away
movie
in the
about
movie, so it also fit that way.
I could have watched a whole movie about Harry or J. Jonah Jameson. And the villains. I love Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. I actually think he played the character better in No Way Home, believe it or not, because in this movie, he's less of a villain and more of a god. I hate the goofy, like, oh, a science experiment went badly and now I'm evil. And all it takes is one conversation with a student for me to be like, oh, wait a second, I'm not evil. Never mind, time to kill myself.
Well, if you put it
Again,
like that, what a bad spin.
yeah.
And
So to me,
amazing is a very interesting choice of words for the character of Spider-Man. So nice wordplay there.
exactly. And I think the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, even though one of them are far superior to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies in general, just because I feel like he plays it more like the Spider-Man that I know, and I just don't think Tobey Maguire or Kirsten Dunst too. I was never a
Well,
fan
I
of
mean,
her
we're not
portrayal
putting
in
those
these
on
movies either.
trial. Yeah, we're not putting the Tom Holland ones on trial, but just out of curiosity, like with the suit, like it seems like the new ones are like all about the suit than it is about Spider-Man, and like the Tobey Maguire ones feel more like the Spider-Man, at least I know, from the comic books and like
I
that
was
web
also always
cartoon stuff.
very creeped out that he shot webs out of his body.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yeah,
sexual
I mean, I
references,
would have made a different choice. That's not Spider-Man 2's fault. That's Spider-Man 1's fault, which is not on trial here. They have to continue it.
that's true. But hey, if we're connecting them all and saying it's a perfect sequel, like, well, the first one is to blame.
You'd be mad if you had web shooters all of a sudden. But anyway, you talk about two things there: the Peter and the villains. I want to circle back to Doc Ock. I want to explain why Peter is so great and why I love him so much in this movie. But first, for Batman Returns, I don't think there is a hero's journey. Bruce Wayne only shows up at like the 40-minute mark, and I'm excluding that Batman scene early on. But Bruce, yeah, shows up at like 37 minutes or something like that. So this is really more of a villain film. And I'm okay with that, honestly. But as far as being a Batman movie, he doesn't really learn anything that I can think of. He's really more the Mary Jane Watson of the film, if Catwoman is one of our main protagonists, to provide her with sort of that reflection of what could have been. Keaton's still great in the role, but he is kind of a side character who doesn't have much development. Now, in contrast, Spider-Man really does have strong messaging with Peter's arc. It almost feels like a reversal of the typical hero movie by examining the personal fallout of doing what they do. Most hero films are all about getting them into the suit, like the first one did. This tries to get him out of it. It actually comes up with more to aspire, or it's more, he actually aspires to be normal. But in that process of getting him out, we come up with truer answers as to why heroes do what they do. So this decision to be Spider-Man hurts him. Of course it would. It would suck to be Spider-Man. Of course it would cut into your personal life and relationships. Of course you'd look like the biggest jerk of all time, always running away anytime there's something dangerous happening. Like, oh, that boy of yours is a real hero. I love that delivery from Joel McHale there. And to eventually shrug it off, I'm sure there would be some initial relief that we see in this movie. But then eventually he does have to walk away from someone in need, someone he really easily could have helped in the past. And then that burning building scene, which mirrors the first movie, something he did easily then, is now a struggle. This all comes around to probably the best non-action scene in the movie, the conversation with May about all the good he did as Spider-Man, spreading even more than he realized by the people that he inspired. Seeing someone else be strong and noble and giving up what they desire for what's right inspires the next person to do the same for even more greater good. And that's what feeds into that Doc Ock arc when he lost sight of that ideal of intelligence being a gift meant for the benefit of humanity. He wanted to be able to say for himself that he accomplished his life's work, but that isn't heroic. And it comes, especially if it comes at the cost of other people's lives. So I'm so glad that this message hits and doesn't just end in a fist fight, even though there are plenty of great fist fights in this film. But this arc is what makes Spider-Man 2 better than Spider-Man 1 and better than most any superhero film if they're at least trying to answer why heroes do what they do.
Mr.
Well,
Pontillo.
you make some fair points there, but I think my overall argument here is that I'm looking at these movies one up, like, on their own, and I think Batman Returns better accomplishes what it was trying to do. Yes, I agree with your point that Bruce Wayne is kind of maybe not a secondary character, but like barely has a journey in this. But I feel like this came at a time where it was just like, okay, well, Batman dealt with his parents' death, and now he just fights crime like crazy. His only real journey seems to be figuring out a new entrance into the Batcave, and that's fine. I think the big storyline in Batman Returns that maybe we're overlooking is the Catwoman storyline, who, even though her origin in this movie is completely freaking insane, I will completely support that. But her journey of, finding Bruce, being in love with Bruce, their relationship, it's really the best, again, insane, but best portrayal of a Bruce Wayne Selina Kyle relationship, because they almost become the way Michael Keaton portrays Bruce Wayne is almost the same way that Michelle Pfeiffer portrays Catwoman. And I think that's part of what makes them, yes, sexy, probably murders people, and likes cats. So that's what you want in love. And I feel like what Spider-Man 2 gets wrong is that, again, like, Peter Parker is just not a likable character. Mary Jane is really not a likable character, to the point where you find yourself being more invested in all the side characters that are running around in this movie. And I like the whole idea of a hero being like, oh, why am I a hero? This is stupid. My life is ruined. That's fine. But I just found that entire movie being, here's Peter Parker crying about literally everything for an hour and a half, and then kind of having one heroic moment at the end. And also, lots of cheese in that movie. Batman Returns might be utterly ridiculous in some cases. I mean, the Penguin himself, eats fish, bites a guy's nose, has a gang of circus freaks. But you have to deal with cheesy, I guess, Marvel nonsense in the Spider-Man movie, like Aunt May hitting Doc Ock in the head with her.
That was great. I didn't like that. I love that. Yeah, shame on you.
I hate stuff like that. Like, kind of takes me out of the moment of the movie, and it also discredits the supervillain at the time, where it's just like, wait, this old lady just hit him in the head.
Well, he's singularly focused on Spider-Man across like the building there. He's like got the knife. He's like, come on and get me. Come on and get me. He's not worried about the old lady that he's got behind him.
Then it should have been Aunt May versus Doc Ock, and Peter Parker should have just been working on his relationship the whole movie.
It would be great, but this movie's great too. Yeah, let's talk about some of those villains in Batman Returns. I don't think much is said there if the villains are our focus, and I'm not sure that there's much of a theme. I think the film is weaker for having two villains instead of just one, but I guess they didn't feel like there was enough story for just one of them, which is wrong, as future iterations of Batman would prove. It set that precedent that Batman films would have, where they now are all team ups, where it's, Two-Face and Riddler or whatever, like they all are team ups now. The way the first did with, but they don't trust that original villain, like the Joker, like taking up the whole story. Spider-Man 2 does that with Doc Ock. Spider-Man 3 makes the same mistake Batman Returns does by introducing more villains for more team ups. I know Returns aims to be a little bit more cartoony, but a man being raised by sewer penguins is a little far-fetched A world
Hey,
where a
these
vat
things
of
happen.
chemicals turns Nicholson into the Joker.
Don't
And
knock it till
Michelle,
you tried it.
What do you think happens when you flush your pet penguin?
No wonder he fish.
should have been the alligators in the sewer. Anyway, and Michelle Pfeiffer remarking like, "What men? Bullshit." Even mousy-looking Michelle Pfeiffer would be getting hit on constantly.
Mousy!
Gorgeous. Her glasses might be they could be a little more flattering, but they don't detract from her enough to stop from turning a head. Penguin has the simple goal of hate that gets sidetracked by this mayoral subplot before that falls apart and he just goes back to his original plan. Not much interesting development there. Catwoman is a bit more interesting with always backflipping her way to revenge, but it's just a revenge plot, really, with her romance maybe teasing that she could be a better person, but ultimately she chooses revenge. And I don't think Returns is a bad movie at all, but I do think this is another area where Spider-Man 2 shines, and that Doc Ock is fully realized. He's multidimensional. He does have humane goals, but the pursuit of recognition and using science for the better the world but it turns him into a tragic monster. Molina plays this excellently from that transformation from that humanitarian scientist to a madman. But he's also complemented by the excellent design of these tentacles, each one kind of having their own personality and feeling. He
There
really
it
feels
is.
so dangerous. They're always leering into the film and looking at Otto and other characters. They just look so great. Of course, Catwoman looks amazing too, but for very, very different reasons.
I think it's the same
You
reasons.
sure?
Sexy. But Peter's arc and Octavius's arc feed into each other. Peter's realization of heroism being what makes Octavius give up what he desires, but also when he kidnaps Mary Jane, being the thing that pushes Peter back into the realization of why the world needs Spider-Man. That transition into a third act is incredible. That train fight, of course, is perfect, but like when he loses his glasses for that final time, his eyes filled with determination, cut to one of JJ's best scenes when Spidey gets his suit back, and then the Daily Bugle informs us Spider-Man's back. Then Spider-Man is slinging through the city, pan all the way to the tower, and see the reflection in Doc Ock's glasses. This is all about a minute of film time. And it perfectly catapults us into that action sequence, which that train scene I prefer over any action sequence in the MCU or anywhere, really. Every beat of that train scene is perfection. Edge of your seat, perfection. Batman looks cool with his sewer glider thing, even if it is a little toyetic, if you will.
Will we?
But it isn't perfection.
I think
not
you
the way
mean
Spider-Man
toynetic.
is. Yeah, it's
There's an N,
toynetic.
yes.
No, it's not.
Just in general, Spider-Man looks better than Batman Returns. Sure, it has more of a decade of film technology on it, but honestly, Spider-Man 2 does look better than most MCU films today, with that camera always dipping and rising through concrete canyons of New York, all these perfect close-ups of characters' faces. It's just an amazing looking movie with an incredible sharp palette. And on that, the Spider-Man team will rest.
All right, Mr. Hessler is rested. Mr. Pontillo, you may proceed with any further argumentation.
Thank you for reminding me of that incredibly nauseating and cringe train scene from
dig your own
Spider-Man.
grave. Dig your own grave.
Which is basically like, hey, what if we did a bigger but not as interesting version of the scene from the first movie with the tram? But now it's a whole train, and the fight is fine. I like the fight. That's probably like the best Spider-Man Doc Ock fight scene in that entire movie. But then the whole thing where like Peter passes out from what he just did, and then all the people on the train are like, well, careful, he's a hero. Oh, he's no older than my son. Is your son 35 years old?
What would you do? If you were on a
That
train
was
and this
such
train
an
was like going off the
obnoxious-
rails and just about to careen off a thing and Spider-Man saves you, would you be like, screw this guy, I'm pushing him off?
give me the and for its time, I think it looks very good. Give me the Batman, destroying the Penguins underground, hideout thing and taking over all his penguins. I don't know how he was mind controlling them, but he was, and blowing up his entire thing. So good for the time. And, I think Batman Returns accomplishes what it's supposed to accomplish, which is sort of being a fun, very comic booky, and a little like brainless just a comic book movie that looks good and fun and dark and captures the spirit of the character at the time, even though it's maybe not the best overall portrayal of Batman. Michael Keaton, still an amazing Batman for what he was at the time. For the type of movies these were, Michael Keaton is great. While I, at this point, probably enjoy Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man the most, weirdly in Spider-Man 3, and also his appearance in No Way Home.
That is weird, the dancing.
The first two movies, to me, Spider-Man 1, he's fine. Spider-Man 2, it's a cry fest. And I don't want to see the hero cry. He's allowed to have dark and sad moments. And maybe that's why I prefer Batman Returns, because Batman is just out there punching people in that movie and blowing up circus strongmen with dynamite, because why not? And all the other stuff he does in that movie, which is absolutely insane. Whereas Spider-Man 2, like, yes, I love the hero's journey. I love origin stories. I love the comeback stories. But it was just too much, and it just took away from like the spirit of what I think Peter Parker / Spider-Man should be, from years of reading comic books, from watching Spider-Man the animated series, which is great.
I mean, the whole raison d'etre of him is with great power comes great responsibility. Like, this film centers entirely on that, and not just in a rehashed way, like the way like the first film might echo the comics, might echo the 90s cartoon series. This tells that same message, but in a different way. But it's all about that. It's all about what Peter Parker is.
Yeah, sort of, but also I just feel like he's very joyless in this movie, and he's not having fun whatsoever at any point in this movie.
Quips too. He's got like
kind of when he's delivering pizzas for 5 seconds.
Yes, here's your change. Eat your green vegetables. Those are fun, like Peter Parker little lines.
Even maybe my big issue really is that I always thought Tobey Maguire was just not the best casting for that role. And I'll kind of just always die on that hill. Like, give me Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland over him any day of the week.
Yeah, I feel like they all have very different takes, but I don't think Tobey Maguire is the worst of the bunch, not by a long run, especially since he's helped, I'll admit, by the film Sam Raimi just loving Spider-Man so much, the universe of Spider-Man, and he's helped by like that being in he's in that universe, absolutely. But I don't think he's bad. Yeah, he's a lot of fun with some of those lines, and he could be quippier. I would have liked him to be quippier, but the plot
a lot more quippier. A lot less cringe and a lot less cheesy things happening in the movie. And honestly, I think Spider-Man 2 could have used a second villain. In fact, the movie only kind of starts to get really good when Harry Osborn is like, "Yeah, you want tritium, whatever it is, get me Spider-Man." And that's a really cool part in the movie. And I wish there was more of that happening instead of Doc Ock's very one-dimensional villain storyline of, "Oh, I had a science experiment gone wrong, and now my arms are controlling me to rob exactly one bank."
No, I think it would detract from the film, especially at its length. So they do perfectly set that up for part 3, which unfortunately in my mind, fumbles with it. But
boo, he's made of sand.
I was waiting for that.
Harry Osborn isn't made of sand.
Oh, but what if he was?
Maybe he should have been.
Yes.
Any further arguments, Mr. Pontillo?
My further arguments is head-to-head. If both of these movies came out at the same time, it would probably be hard to say that Batman Returns on the surface is better than Spider-Man 2. But looking back on it years later, I think Batman Returns is a movie that has held up better, somehow gotten better. And Spider-Man 2, I think partially because of just how many comic book movies have come out, especially Marvel-wise, I just feel like falls in comparison. And looking back on it, it just feels like such a cheesy and goofy and almost like borderline childish movie compared to what there is now.
Compared to the movie with like the penguins having little rocket packs.
What was that?
Compared to the movie where like the penguins are marching down Gotham Street with the little rockets on their back. It's more cartoony than that.
They were going to sell toys at McDonald's. You don't understand.
Toynetics. Ben does understand.
And Spider-Man 2 is not a toyetic film.
It should have been.
And are you going to rest on that, Mr. Pontillo?
I am going to rest on that.
Okay.
Don't feel good about any of this, but
We never
That's par
do.
for the course.
All sides have rested their cases. The attorneys will now present their closing arguments. Mr. Hassler, you may begin.
Quick question for you, Your Honor. How do you feel about Cats in the Cradle parodies?
Oh, God, you're not going to sing, are you?
This is going to be a rough few minutes for you, I feel.
Oh, Lord.
Minutes!
I saw Batman Returns just the other day. Had cartoonist props and sets in the Tim Burton way. Bruce dropped in but said he couldn't stay. Said this one's for villains and you already paid. And as he was talking for, I knew it, saw Chris Walken's charred face. Looked like a scare taker out of place. And the
Hey.
Bat's got a sequel in the Reels courtroom. Black leather whip, crack, sexual gloom. Is this good for kids? Well, I don't know, friend, but we saw it all in the wide gen. We asked awkward questions then. Now Spidey 2 comes into the fray. How Pete learned heroism made my day. From the OG plot, it chose not to stray. And that train fight better than the Lone Ranger way. Tom Holland's there trying to chase that Doc Ock high. Said, missed Penguin in the Flash guy. Though I'd watch that, I don't know why. But the Bat's got a sequel in the Reels courtroom. When Flash has his day, it'll be a much meaner tune. While the jury talks us over, Joe will just stay calm and browse to a site that's the bomb, man, JoePontillo.com.
JoePontillo.com.
wow, how can you argue with that?
Mr. Pontillo, please present your closing argument, and if you sing, I swear to fucking God, I will strangle
Better be
you.
a song.
I was in the middle of writing a song, and then I heard that song, and I changed my mind. So yeah.
That's what I do.
There's no time.
Scare you straight.
My closing argument is that, and again, I come at this as a comic book fan. Batman, Spider-Man, my two favorite characters. There are better versions of Batman, and I think there are better versions of Spider-Man. For what these movies are, I think Batman Returns is slightly superior. I don't think it's a highly superior film. I think for what it was at the time, following the first Batman movie, being as gothic and gritty and ridiculous as a Tim Burton Batman movie could be, the peak Tim Burton Batman movie, because we never got a third movie from him. God only knows what he would have done with it. Right, the entire movie would have taken place in a cave or a tree. I'm not sure. So, I think it's not a perfect movie. The villains are the Penguin is just an evil guy and eats fish and controls penguins and circus goons for some reason. And that's great. It works perfectly with this movie. And Catwoman is everything you want Catwoman to be. Great, again, ridiculous origin story. Great setup at the end for a potential sequel that never happened, or her coming back in another movie. Bruce Wayne / Batman, of course, a little one-dimensional. Batman totally, in the entire movie, says about 23 words, but they're all fine. They're fantastic. It's one of those movies where it's like you don't care that the hero has no real journey and is just there to stop the bad guys. Whereas Spider-Man 2 tries very hard to have this hero's journey, and I think it could have worked, but I just think with Spider-Man 2, the movie does not hold up. All these movies were very, obviously, it's totally 2004. Right, the first, wacky Joel McHale and Hal Sparks appearances, and also Macy Gray was the first movie, right? There was no,
yes.
Which you're watching this movie now, you're like, who even cares about this person? And again, Doc Ock to me, one of my favorite villains in all of comic books, and I feel like they didn't do him justice. Like they did great justice to the Green Goblin in the first movie. Brilliant portrayal by William Dafoe. And while I think Alfred Molina is perfectly cast as Doc Octopus, I wish they gave him a lot better material in this movie. And I'm not sure, like I said, should they have added a second villain? Should they have gotten to the whole, Harry making him bring him Spider-Man sooner in the movie? Maybe. I also I have issues with the cringe, the cheesiness. Never been a fan of Tobey Maguire or Kirsten Dunst. However, in Tobey Maguire's defense, I overall love him as an actor. And I think he's great in No Way Home because he's better as like the elder Spider-Man. Like, hey, I'm 48 years old now. But watching him in these movies, you're like, I can't take this guy seriously as a teenager, as a superhero, as literally anything he's trying to be in these movies. He's just not selling it for me. And it hurts all three of the movies, not just this one. But this one I have the biggest problem with because people say, this is the best Spider Man movie. This is the best comic book movie. And I just think they're wrong. And I hope the jury listens to me. Thank you.
What do you say?
What was that? Yeah.
And
Thank you
listen to
both.
my podcast, The Batman Returns Experience.
Members of the jury, Mr. Dylan J. Schlender, Mr. Maynard Bangs, and Mr. Now, let's see who's behind the mask. Ryan Luis Rodriguez. You've all heard the facts concerning this case. It's now up to you to determine which film is the superior movie. The bailiff will escort you to the deliberation room to render your verdict.
Right this way? I thought Christmas movies were put on trial in December. Is this not early January?
Easy there, bailiff. Two stronger movies for a head-to-head here, and two pretty impassioned cases that were really arguing about intentionality. And I think each lawyer hung their hat on how each movie was successful. So it's kind of like which movie really landed its vision best is kind of how I'm looking at these two movies, because I think there's some connective tissue between them, but the fact of the matter is they're really just kind of sequels doing their own thing. So I think looking at the intentionality of it is going to be very important as we deliberate here. Now, Ben was talking about Spider-Man 2 really being this continuation and really drilling into kind of what makes Spider-Man tick. And then you have Joe talking about Batman Returns saying, it's not like that. We're already in this established world. How can we crank things up and have more fun with it? And that's why we have, even by his own admission, some ridiculous stuff that it doesn't actually seem out of place that much because we have the first movie to lean back on. But it's definitely not trying to go for the depth that Spider-Man 2 was going. So I do think both movies were very successful in what they were shooting for, and I think we'll probably just have to decide which one was edges out the other by a little bit. But Maynard Bangs, what are you thinking today about the movies, about the cases?
I think Batman Returns is not guilty of being a Christmas movie.
Okay.
There was barely any Christmas in
It's
But
this.
there was enough.
There was a couple trees, there were a couple little tunes, but it was really backdroppy. It wasn't like Die Hard. But it was much more of a Christmas movie than Spider-Man. But that's not what we're here to decide. But that is what I think. Both movies scored by Danny Elfman, right? And I think score to score, you've got to give it to Batman Returns. Danny Elfman is Danny Elfmaning so hard throughout the score of Batman Returns. Boom, 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 boom. You can hear a little bit of like Nightmare Before Christmas in there.
Well, yeah, it would be like the next year he would do
Exactly,
Christmas.
yeah. So he's cannibalizing himself, or maybe he's just getting that run up into Nightmare. Villain to villain, though, I don't. The Penguin's a ridiculous character. Like, why is he so lecherous and sexual and gross? I think they do it because there's no other reason to really dislike him. Like he didn't do anything wrong. He got thrown down a sewer. Like he has every right to come up and join society. And if he had just been willing to do that within the eyes of the law, there'd be no problem. Like he didn't have to pretend to kidnap a baby and everything to do it. So you have to have some reason to dislike him. And it's like, oh, he's just downright a creep. But I guess it's kind of what he went through. And Catwoman bounces all over the place. Like when she's cleaning herself, she's very hard to take seriously. But when she's freaking out and like smashing everything in her apartment, I really like her. So I kind of like Catwoman maybe most out of this movie. Batman's just he's there somewhere, but he really fades into the background. I do agree with Joe, though. Doc Ock kind of didn't really get to do much. I mean, he kind of goes on a rampage, but it's a really very, simple story. Like, why did you give those arms AI anyway if you were just going to take their will away to control them with your own mind? Like, just make them controllable by your own mind and never have their own will. Didn't make any sense at all. I do think it's very close. Right now I'm kind of leaning Batman just because the art direction, like Tim Burton's whole world, it's crazy, but it's really vibrant and very memorable. I mean, it still looks so good.
Ryan Luis Rodriguez.
I love both of these movies, but the prosecutor and defender both did themselves disservices by leaving out key things. First of all, as for Spider-Man being corny and cheesy, Sam Raimi is a fan of the 1960s Spider-Man. He's making a comic throwback to that period of the comic book. And Batman, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, how could you call it Batman Returns when he doesn't really return? I mean, he just kind of sits in his mansion and looks outside and goes, "Oh, there's a light with my
He
symbol on it."
returns to cinema, Ryan. He returns to
No, the
cinema.
best thing about Batman is that it's a Tim Burton movie through and
Yes.
through. It is not a movie that he was hired to make. It's a movie that he had the passion to make, and of course was so hated by the world and by McDonald's that he never made another one again, and that's a tragedy.
Why did McDonald's hate him? Didn't they get to make that car that did a corkscrew on the
Because
front?
parents were saying that this movie is too dark for children, and they shouldn't be advertised with chicken McNuggets. And
It's
I totally
definitely too
understand.
sexual for them. I mean, like the penguin stuff is
But
real.
but
What's this
anyway,
rated?
I actually
PG-13.
have that here. This was a McDonald's. I think this was a McDonald's.
Okay, but
And that's
if I can,
just
if I can
always on
finish
your
my
desk,
thought, that'd be wonderful.
Even though it murdered 3 kids, but still.
Ryan.
The biggest problem with the Spider-Man case, and something that Ben didn't bring up, is the randomly disappearing powers that Peter just seems to have, which always stuck with me as a really sore spot for that character. Like, he'll have them, and then 15 minutes later, he just won't, and he'll be like, "Oh no, what do I do?" And then 30 minutes later, he'll have his powers again, and it's never actually explained until No Way Home, when they say that he was having a crisis of conscience and that he was having it was a metaphysical breakdown, which I like, but that's a completely different movie that is not actually on trial here.
No, but
So
Ryan,
what?
do you remember in the cartoon when he started losing his powers what that meant, though?
Why don't you tell me, Dylan?
He was about to turn to Man Spider. I thought that's where they were moving with the movie, but they
Ooh.
weren't.
But they didn't.
They didn't.
Who,
I know.
who would
Would've been more
win, Man Spider or Man Bat?
Man Spider.
Do you think Man Spider could beat Man
Man
Bat?
Spider's
Man Bat's-
savage, man. Man
Yeah,
Bat's just
Man Bat,
weird.
but Man Bat still has human intelligence. But we're getting a bit far afield. I think you make a very good point though, Ryan. Like losing the powers because he's sad. It was a bit, because like I am fine with Spider-Man having this personal crisis. I mean, like I don't think it's necessarily the most compelling story per se, but
it works
I do
fine.
think
It's just you gotta put that
exactly.
stuff in there. You gotta give the audience
Exactly.
something to hang on to.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
it's like,
they'll be
is
like
he
me.
really losing his powers? Or like I just, yeah,
Is
I
it
would've-
psychological? Is it physical? Is
Exactly.
it an animal or a mineral? Is it any of these things?
And like
Who
I
knows?
said, the very, very first I thought, like, oh, are they doing a Man Spider arc? That would be so cool. And they didn't, but that's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts any of you guys want to throw out there?
No, I think I covered everything.
All right, Maynard.
Guess I'll lock in first.
You don't have to lock it first. I can make Ryan do it. I'm the foreman.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I
Ryan?
would rather lock in first.
You would
Let's
rather
put
you are
put some-
always
put some
moaning about having
pressure
to lock in first.
on other people. This
No
one's
pressure.
kind of a coin flip to me. There are things I like and dislike about both movies. There are moments where they each kind of make me groan. For how much newer Spider-Man is, I think Batman looks a lot better. I mean, from 10 years earlier, it doesn't rely on that as much of the CGI and everything is so good looking in Batman Returns. Even if there is some real cartoonish, outlandish stuff going
Even
on the
Christopher
screen.
Walken's hair.
Yeah, he reminds me of somebody. Who is he supposed to be? I can't put my finger on it. So I'm gonna go for Batman Returns, and maybe that'll be, just me taking a stand. But I think that's the one I think I would rather watch again.
Ryan Luis Rodriguez.
Spider-Man Homecoming used to be my favorite live-action Spider-Man. And then I watched Spider-Man 2 a couple more times, and now that's my favorite live-action Spider-Man. But of course, the best Spider-Man movie is, of course, Into the Spider-Verse, as we all know.
Oh, those are pretty sweet.
I like Lego Spider-Man.
There isn't a Lego Spider-Man movie. There's a Lego Batman movie. But anyway, going case to case, it's undeniable Spider-Man 2.
All right, so we're split right now. We've got Maynard Banks saying Batman Returns. We got Ryan Luis Rodriguez saying Spider-Man 2. And as I said at the beginning, I think the way the lawyers presented their cases, we're looking at which movie was more successful in their intentions. And I think the case that proved one movie did do a little better than the other was Ben's. So I'm going to say Spider-Man 2. Now let's go out there and tell that very handsome judge.
Boo.
Mr. Foreman, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. In the case of Spider-Man 2 versus Batman Returns, we find in favor of Spider-Man 2.
The verdict is so rendered. Batman Returns is hereby sealed in the Batcave until it properly develops prominent nipples. Court is adjourned.
Tough but fair.
It'll be 2 films.
Is it too late to threaten a juror?
Yeah.
It's never too late to threaten a juror.
I'm with you, Joe. I got some issues with some jurors as well.
G'day, this is the platypus. I was thrown down into the sewers when I was a young baby and raised by all the platypus there in the sewer. It wasn't in Australia, but don't ask that. Joe Pontillo, what'd you think of the jury's verdict in there? Did it really timber your Largos?
I think I'm going to become Batman after this. That's really the only possible recourse. I'm just going to dress up like a giant bat and just beat the crap out of, not criminals, mainly just jurors who have betrayed me. That's it.
I'll help you if you want to have a team up.
Yeah, fight Maynard first.
No, we're teaming up. We're teaming up against the rest of you.
Yeah, you're the platypus he could team up with, but Maynard's a juror.
I don't know who that guy is.
Wait a minute.
Thank you very much. And who do we have here? We had Big Ben Haslott. Why don't you tell us what you thought of the jury's verdict?
Well, I too have some issues with some jurors. I hate when things are brought up in deliberation that we don't have a chance to respond to because the Elfman does do great work here. That ba-dum, 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 ba-dum is perfect for Doc Ock because it's 4. It comes in 4s just like his tentacles. And the powers is psychological. That's the whole thing with that scene with him and the doctor talking about that. It's all up here. They do explain it. It didn't come from
curse those bloody jurors.
Ryan. Those jurors.
I'll team up with you if you want to take them all out.
No, that's okay.
Got poisonous barbs on my feet.
I'm liking Joe's thing. I think I will also dress up as my own platypus. Much more exciting than a platypus.
Ooh, my robo enemy. Well, that's all the time we have here from the Reels of Justice, so let's go back to the studio for post-trial analysis.
All I'm saying
Kimberly
is
Largos.
I've never seen Maynard Bangs and the platypus in the same room at the same time.
I didn't even see
Great case, though, Joe. Really,
no, that
honestly.
was good. That was good.
No, but one of them wears glasses, right? Which one wears glasses? So it couldn't possibly be the platypus.
Good point.
He wears goggles, so he
the
can see in the
platypus
water.
wears glasses, but Maynard
Yes.
does not. Very interesting. It's the reverse of Superman.
Are those goggles prescription? I want to see.
Yes, I do keep prescription goggles. But no, great case, and maybe justice was served. I like Batman Returns. I think I thought it was sillier than it was, but it's all art. All of its art direction is so good that it's
a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, really, unmistakably.
I feel like I used to like it less, and now I like it more, and I think that's kind of what my argument was. That I feel like it's somehow gotten better over time.
Yeah,
where Spider-Man 2 has gotten worse.
I went through a period when the Nolan movies came out of saying, now that's the true Batman. And then like 10 years later, I realized that I was being such an asshole and just like, no, they can still be good. They don't have to be the same interpretation of the character.
Yeah,
Tim
For
Burton
the
has
same
his take.
reasons I have issues with Spider-Man 2, I have similar issues with how they portray Batman / Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight's amazing, but I think it's a bad portrayal of Batman. Another
that's
episode.
fair.
The best one we know is Adam West, of course. It's the best.
Why
Of
doesn't
course.
No,
Batman
Will Arnett.
dance anymore?
No, Ben Affleck.
Oh, I love Batfleck. He got so jacked for that. It's so
Jack
huge.
Fleck.
Jack Fleck. Oh man, but you know, I do feel like Batman Returns is kind of getting its second win with the internet barbarians at the gate coming here. You know, like everyone
Well,
wants
it's a
to
Christmas
be,
movie.
well, actually, and you know, pushing up their glasses on the.
It's
bridge of their
Home Alone.
nose,
It's
and-
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Die Hard. Batman Returns.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
There you go. And maybe Iron Man 3. I can't remember how we decided.
It has Christmas in it. It's a Christmas movie. It's the Die Hard.
That is
Festival.
not enough.
That is not. No,
That's
it's more.
that's
It needs to be at
exactly
least
enough.
Yes, it is.
plot
Yes, it
related.
is.
What wasn't happening in that movie?
Yeah. So
And Die Hard had plenty of Christmas. That case is already closed. So, Joe, what's been keeping you busy? What have you been up to since the last time we saw you?
I've been doing a lot of other movie podcasts where I argue
Better
which
ones?
movie's better. Oh yeah, definitely. There's
God damn it.
there's whose film is it anyway? And no, I
That's a good
actually
name. Too
just
late to
shot
search
a
to that.
pilot, hopefully, and that maybe will be out sometime in early 2026. It is based on one of my recurring characters that I do called Pontillo and Associates. So look out for that. And just touring and doing comedy, mostly around the tri-state area, and putting out my little skits or sketches or whatever it is, which do varying degrees of well on social media, depending on what's going on.
Any songs? Do you do any songs?
I don't do any songs yet, although I
Thank
did
God,
just.
Joe, keep it that way.
Well, I don't do songs, but I did before this actually try to record sort of a spoof of the John Hamm dancing meme that's going around. So look out for that in the next 48 hours.
Oh God.
Pontillo and Funky Company. I think it could catch on. This will be out right around New Year's. So you think you can do some shows right after New Year's somewhere? I don't know if you know any specifically.
Just for
coming
your
up.
fans.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
That'd be
nice.
great.
We have fans?
And if
My
you
mom will love it.
if you want to get your reels really going, you just have to the beginning frame just needs to be a beautiful woman, and then just have it cut to you doing any of your little sketches.
I'm thinking in the new year I'm going to do mostly ASMR videos where I actually say nothing and I'm just doing something. That seems to be what's pretty big right now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe
Corn on the
eating a
cob or
meal,
something.
making
Yeah.
juice, or just going through my email. That feels like safe content that everybody can
I'd
relate.
watch that.
It's
Yeah,
not
making your
political. No
lunch.
one gets mad.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Joe
It's family
Pontillo.
friendly.
Sends out booking emails that will probably not get responses.
That reminds me of the trading cards Krusty has to pose for, right? Krusty poses for a trading card photo. Visits his
Krusty
parents.
visits in-laws in Maryland or whatever.
yeah, something like that. Excellent. And of course, people can keep up with everything you're doing on
Everything. Instagram, at
maybe a particular
Pontillogram,
website that you might.
JoePontillo.net or com.
Oh, so close.
And,
JoePontillo.com.
JoePontillo.com.
yes, that's where my schedule is, which I actually have to update some of it with a bunch of dates. But what are you gonna do? And then I still use Facebook on the regular basis. I don't know why. Mainly because I make
You want
8 cents off every post.
China to have your data. Do you make more if I like it? I'll like it and then unlike it and like it back.
I think what I really need, can you just leave an angry comment on every
I
single
do every
post?
time.
Thank you.
You maybe can't tell they're angry, but
That's
they're
the only
angry.
reason I still do this podcast, because I'm like, technically Rob's paying me. So
Everything I type is through clenched teeth. That's true. Really enjoyed
happy
this.
birthday!
What a knee slapper.
Sending belated cheer.
Another great point.
Just
Well
like the Wheels
articulated.
of Justice podcast.
Yeah, I get it. He's Italian. That's great. Now, we always ask for recommendations from our guests for movies you think people should see. So, what is a movie you think people should see?
Well,
Besides The
keeping
Godfather.
on brand with Batman Returns, somewhere between Batman and Batman Returns, Michael Keaton made this movie that I just discovered, and it's kind of ridiculous. It's called Pacific Heights.
I
It
love that movie.
stars. You've seen it, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
It's very. It's one of those movies that's obviously meant to be serious, but if you like laughing at insane characters, it's a great movie for that. It also stars Matthew Modine and Melanie Griffin, and the plot it's so much better than I thought it was. It's one of these movies that at a certain point just kind of like skips forward to like wrap everything up, but it's such a wild and insane ride up until that point. Michael Keaton clearly was insane during the years of like 1989 and 1993, so he's at his peak insanity, and it's just perfect if you're a fan of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. If you want to see, Michael Keaton hanging out with Spider-Man 2, they're in Homecoming, as we mentioned, too. So they finally got to get together and work together.
And Matthew
One
Modine
project.
is in
And then
Batman.
they
It's
sent
all
him
connected.
to another universe for no reason at all.
So
They
far,
want to team up with
Toynetics.
Morbius? Not really. Well, we don't know what else to do.
They
they'll-
really
they'll-
should bring
they'll put that all
Morbius
together
back.
in 2025, Or, no, sorry,
People would go out to
2025.
see another Morbius movie just to troll the studios. It would be great. They should totally do it. Morbius and Venom, team them up.
It's Morbin time.
Exactly. And my favorite part was when he morbed all over everyone.
Oh,
Big Ben, what have you got for us?
For my New Year's recommendation, which I believe this will be airing on, I will suggest a New Year's film, 2013's Snowpiercer. Directed by Bong Joon-ho of Parasite, Memories of Murder, and The Host fame, most of his films center in some way about class struggle, which most of us live in. South Korea certainly, in America
me.
ever so slightly more and more. You're living in it, you just don't realize it. This system is heavily symbolized in Snowpiercer by a train with a single engineer at its head, with the most luxury that is owed him as compensation for running the train that everyone depends on, and the lower classes crammed into the caboose section. Nobody can escape this train in which they ride, as the outside world is completely covered in ice. We follow a worker in the caboose, played by Chris Evans, as he takes it upon himself to confront the leading cars to equal out the resources hoarded up front. And as he battles his way through the train cars, we see things like sushi cars that only serve people twice a year, while the people in the back are eating protein bars made from bugs. The symbology takes a turn, however, as the train is stuck on the tracks that form a year-long cycle, and we come to realize that simply reforming the system may not change anything, as inevitably whatever new system is constructed will simply form new masters, and you can't depend on the new ones to always treat everyone fairly and equally when the engine that everything runs on is dependent on a lower class of tailenders, just as our societies need people to mop our floors and run our convenience stores. That isn't the conclusion that the film draws, and I don't want to go further for the sake of spoilers and letting you form your own conclusions. Suffice to say, I don't necessarily agree with the conclusion, but the ride up until then, it gives you a lot to think about. So if heavily symbolic films about class struggle and systemic corruption are your jam, Snowpiercer might be one to check out.
And it has trains.
Just the one.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
It's
We all
dirty.
love trains, love
it's a big
trains.
train.
Did you just read
Uh,
this off Letterboxd?
At least his
Uh,
letterbox. Yes.
Yeah, baby. Which is the only letterbox anyone should be reading. Mine and Ryan's.
That's true, because if you go to Ben's Letterbox, you can see the recommendation of justice list where every movie we've ever recommended is listed out. Link in the show notes.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna
Good luck
sign up
finding
just
it.
for that.
It's not there, folks. Ben, have you seen the TV show?
No, I haven't.
Is it
Ryan,
Justice?
Nope, never seen it.
No, the Snowpiercer TV show. I know there's a series. I don't know if it
Yep,
ever
It
finished.
was on TNT for 3 years.
Ooh, it's TNT.
Hey, they did leverage.
Ain't no
man.
drama.
Yes, that's it. I was going to say Characters Welcome, but that's USA.
That's USA.
It is. But, well, Characters Welcome anyhow. Ryan, speaking of characters, what is your recommendation?
I almost can't believe it, but for my recommendation this week is the second Richard Linklater film in 2 months, one that was released just a month before this recording, Nouvelle Vague. French for New Wave. It follows Jean-Luc Godard as he transitions from film critic for Cahiers du Cinema to film director, focusing almost exclusively on his directorial debut, the groundbreaking masterpiece Breathless. Linklater wisely shoots in black and white Academy ratio in an attempt to capture the feeling of the time, including cigarette burns in the top right corner of it at every reel change. It features the radiant Zoe Deutsch as Jean Seberg, which unfortunately means an unflattering pixie cut. Guillaume Marbeck as Godard, stone-faced, sunglasses wearing, and aloof, and Aubrey Dulin as Jean-Paul Belmondo, possibly the best bit of casting I've seen in a biographical film in years. If people actually watch this, my hope is that it convinces them to seek out the rest of the French New Wave, because Linklater is deliberately just scratching the surface here. Nouvelle Vague is unfortunately streaming on the only place something this niche with an actual budget can be found, Netflix. Yuck.
When does he captain the Enterprise? Dylan got it.
Am I in this movie?
We make that same joke every time we bring up Godard, though.
I know.
Holding
I'm
on to
still
Godard.
waiting for
Godard.
Picard.
I
Yes.
know.
It's going to take over the Enterprise.
And given Ryan's hoity-toity taste, I think I've recommended the most Jean-Luc Godard movies, but I'm not sure. We'd have to check on Ben's recommendation of Justice list on Letterboxd.
Link in the show notes.
Schlenzer,
what have you got for us?
Oh, what do I've got? I have to say, Maynard, this week's recommendation is one of the bigger surprises I have had recently. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it wildly exceeded my admittedly mild expectations. And that movie is Sketch from 2024. A family is grieving over the loss of their mother/wife, a very capable Tony Hale, playing the now widowed father of two of the best child actors I have seen in decades. The daughter is working through her grief with a series of elaborate and often violent sketches that are magically brought to life by an enchanted pond. While not short on silliness, there is emotional depth to be had, and you find yourself rooting for the characters to not only triumph over the pastel monsters, but also to grow and come to accept their new situation in life. Young actor Kalen Cox steals every scene he is in as the friend to the brother and sister duo, and you will find yourself quoting so many of his lines after this movie. I won't shut up about this. I am very right. So, I'm not sure where it's streaming, but it should be a shoo-in for a 4K Criterion release any day now.
It was animated or it's live action? It's live action.
It's live action. The monsters are animated because
Did not even realize I saw it
sketches that
until you
came up.
started laying out the plot synopsis.
I thought you
If
would have
I
loved it,
watch this
Ryan.
movie and I don't start quoting all of his lines, I'm coming back on this podcast.
That's good, because after you get done fighting Maynard, you get to fight me. So there.
Yeah.
And what is one of those lines, Sunzo?
That was what I said earlier. He's like, I won't shut up, but I'm very right about this. They were
Okay.
trying to correct him about something he was indeed very right about.
You just say that already anyhow, so it's hard for me
That's
to know
why I
what
love
was.
that line. Even my kids were like, that's something you would say, Dad. I'm like, you're absolutely right.
Now, on the 12th day of Kung Fu Christmas, my true foe gave to me 5 deadly venoms. Why only 5 on the 12th day, you ask? I don't know. Times are getting tight. It's
no.
My recommendation today is 1976 Shaolin Temple. Hoping to take revenge against their enemies in the Qing dynasty, several devotees of the Shaolin Temple resent that they're being forced to do all their master's most tedious chores. However, these duties may actually hold the key to their most valuable training. You know, it's the Karate Kid effect. Wax on, wax off. Make your pupil do all the housework and make them think they're learning martial arts. But it turns out it works because they're able to beat up all the bad guys after learning to like mix stew with a staff, and they're cutting wood apart with their hands basically. Actually that gives me an idea. We could probably get your kids to start doing all their martial arts training by telling them it's housework.
Hey, I
Anyway,
like it.
members of what would eventually go on to be known as the Venom Mob do make cameo appearances. They wouldn't go on for notoriety for many years yet. It's a couple years before Five Deadly Venoms. But the sets in this one are really terrific, especially the sequence in what's called Wooden Men Alley. It's like a booby-trapped escape tunnel that deserters can use to leave the temple, but most perish in the attempt. And I thought it was a well-choreographed take on the booby-trapped ruin trope with a kung fu twist. And of course, the last third of the movie is nothing but fighting. Though we don't get much time to learn anything about the Queen adversaries, which makes those fights feel a bit like homogenous. They should have given one of the bad guys a steel abacus to really make him stand out more and complete the cycle. Anyway, if you want to check out Shaolin Temple, it's currently streaming on a whole bunch of platforms for free. Pluto TV, Fandango, all sorts of stuff. So
on
get
Tubi?
out there and check it out. Unfortunately, not Tubi. Tubi's not a high enough
Ooh.
quality to score it, I
Ooh.
guess.
Ooh.
Not good enough.
What? No. Come on.
Snowpiercer's on Tubi.
Well, Snowpiercer was good enough. You see?
I'm in a movie on Tubi.
Really?
That's what you should be recommending. What is it so the folks
Yeah,
at
I
home
guess
can...
it's called Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. If you're into racing movies that take place in the 1970s,
Who isn't?
All right.
I play a mildly amusing. What am I? I guess I'm like the guy that runs the racetrack. I'm in like 2 scenes.
So you say Sunday, Sunday, Sunday?
I outright refuse to say that on set.
Saturday, Saturday,
A
Saturday.
bold choice.
Any
Well,
other
I guess
day
the
of the week,
owner-
fine.
The owner's not the guy who makes that announcement anyway. I suppose you pay somebody in your staff to do it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just the curmudgeon-y guy who's like, "Ah, your tires are rotted. You can't race today." But then I have
Really?
a heart of gold.
Aw.
Just
Aw,
like in
that
real
is
life.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's why everyone should go to
Just a rad guy,
joepontillo.com and give. Give.
Is it too
There's
late to cancel my appearance on this podcast?
only slightly. Just by minutes.
Well-
I'm sorry. We got to close this down.
Yeah, we're keeping your
That's
case.
all.
We'll just overdub the voice.
We're out of show. I'm coming back.
Tonight,
with
Joe
my
Pontillo will be
platypus
played
voice.
by.
The Vern. I would watch that. But with that, we are all out of show. But we want to thank our guest, Joe Pontillo, for joining us. Thank you so much, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for having me, I guess.
We're going to have you back. We're going to check out your curmudgeon-y movie on Tubi. We're all going to
Yes.
go, of course, to
They are working on a
joepontillo.com.
sequel that may come out by 2028. We'll see.
Monday.
Monday.
No, Sunday, 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 Sunday. 4 Sundays.
That's
4
good, too.
Sundays. And a funeral. Well, we're going to have you back to defend that next time then. And we
Deal.
hope everyone else will join us as well as the Reels of Justice keep turning.
Count it.
It's psychological. It's in his head.
He says it.
Take that,
Harry
Ben.
says it clearly.
Please follow us on Twitter at Reels of Justice, Instagram Reels of Justice, and Facebook.com/Reels of Justice.